welcome to Quiz Time. I'm your quiz master, Sean, and I've got questions for you. Today, I'll have a little specialized topic for you. Can you answer these jazz history questions? Well, we love jazz, don't we? So let's see what we know, what we remember, and have a little fun doing it, shall we? Well, let's begin. Which legendary jazz musician was known as Satchmo? Was that Dizzy Gillespie, Louis Armstrong, or Count Basie? Satchmo was Louis Armstrong. The bebop jazz style emerged during which decade? Was it the 1920s, the 1930s, or the 1940s? The bebop jazz style came around in the 1940s. Which saxophonist recorded the album Giant Steps? Was that John Coltrane? Was it Charlie Parker? Or was it Sonny Rollins? Giant Steps was recorded by John Coltrane. Who was the pianist in the famous Kind of Blue album by Miles Davis? Was that Herbie Hancock, Bill Evans, or Thelonious Monk? That was Bill Evans. Which jazz singer was known as the First Lady of Song? Was that Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, or Sarah Vaughan? The First Lady of Song, Ella Fitzgerald. In which city did jazz originate? Was it Chicago, New York, or New Orleans? Jazz originated in New Orleans. Which instrument did Charlie Parker play? Did he play the trumpet? Did he play the alto saxophone? Or did he play the piano? Charlie Parker played the alto saxophone. Who composed Take 5? Was that by Joe Morello, Paul Desmond, or Dave Brubeck? Take 5 was composed by Paul Desmond. Which jazz style incorporated elements of rock and funk in the late 1960s? Was that fusion jazz, cool jazz, or was it swing? That would be fusion jazz. Duke Ellington's longtime collaborator was Billy Strayhorn, or was it Benny Goodman, or Glenn Miller? Duke Ellington's longtime collaborator was Billy Strayhorn. Which Miles Davis album is often considered the birth of jazz fusion? Was it Kind of Blue, Sketches of Spain, or Bitches Brew? It was Bitches Brew. Who was known as the President of Jazz? Was that Lester Young, Coleman Hawkins, or Buddy Rich? The president of jazz was Lester Young. Which jazz pianist was known for his composition Round Midnight? Oscar Peterson, Thelonious Monk, or was it Bud Powell? Round Midnight was by Thelonious Monk. The West Coast jazz movement was primarily centered in, was it centered around Seattle, San Francisco, or Los Angeles? West Coast jazz, that was primarily centered in Los Angeles. Which female jazz pianist composed Kaleidoscope? Was that Nina Simone, Marian McPartland, or Mary Lou Williams? And that was Mary Lou Williams. Dizzy Gillespie was known for playing which instrument? Did he play the trumpet, the trombone, or the saxophone? Dizzy Gillespie was known for playing the trumpet. Which jazz bassist worked extensively with John Coltrane? Was it Ron Carter, Charles Mingus, or Jimmy Garrison? That jazz bassist was Jimmy Garrison. The Cotton Club was a famous jazz venue in, was it in Chicago, Harlem, New York, or New Orleans? It was located in Harlem, New York. Which jazz drummer was known as Papa Joe? Was that Joe Jones, Art Blakey, or Max Roach? Papa Joe was Joe Jones. Ornette Coleman was a key figure in which jazz style? Was it swing, free jazz, or cool jazz? That would be free jazz. Which jazz singer was known for her rendition of Strange Fruit? Was that Billie Holiday, Nina Simone, or was that Bessie Smith? That was Billie Holiday. The Real Book is that a jazz autobiography, a collection of jazz standards, or a jazz theory textbook? The Real Book. That's a collection of jazz standards. Which jazz saxophonist was known as the Hawk? Was that Coleman Hawkins? Was it Stan Getz or Dexter Gordon? The Hawk, Coleman Hawkins. Who led the orchestra that performed at the famous 1938 Carnegie Hall concert? Was that Duke Ellington? Was it Count Basie? Or was it Benny Goodman? That was Benny Goodman. Which jazz musician was known for his sheets of sound technique? Was that Miles Davis, John Coltrane, or was that Sonny Rollins? That was John Coltrane. Bill Evans was most associated with which jazz piano style? Was it stride, modal, or was it ragtime? Bill Evans was associated with modal. Which jazz vocalist was known as the Divine One? Was that Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, or was that Billie Holiday? The Divine One, that is Sarah Vaughan. The Newport Jazz Festival was founded in which year? 1954, 1946, or 1967? The Newport Jazz Festival was founded in 1954. Which jazz trumpeter was known as Dizzy? Was that Miles Davis, John Burks Gillespie, or was it Louis Armstrong? Dizzy. Well, that would be John Burks Dizzy Gillespie. Which jazz pianist was known for his block chord technique? Was that George Shearing, Oscar Peterson, or Dave Brubeck? The block chord technique, that was George Shearing. Art Blakey's band was called, were they the Jazz Messengers, the Modern Jazz Quartet, or the Jazz Crusaders? They were the Jazz Messengers. Which jazz instrument traditionally keeps time in a New Orleans jazz band? Is time kept by the drums, the bass, or the banjo? The banjo keeps time in a New Orleans jazz band. Which jazz singer was nicknamed Lady Day? Was that Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, or Lena Horne? Lady Day, that was Billie Holiday. Straight No Chaser was that composed by Thelonious Monk, Bud Powell, or was that composed by Horace Silver? Straight No Chaser, that was composed by Thelonious Monk. Which saxophonist was known as The Sound? Was that Stan Getz, Paul Desmond, or Wayne Shorter? The Sound, that was none other than Stan Getz. The Savoy Ballroom was located in, would that be Chicago, Harlem, New York, or was that in Kansas City? That was located in Harlem, New York. Which jazz pianist was known for his composition Watermelon Man? Was that Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, or was that Keith Jarrett? Watermelon Man, that's a composition by Herbie Hancock. Body and Soul became a jazz standard after being recorded by, was it Coleman Hawkins, Lester Young, or Sidney Bechet? That was Coleman Hawkins. Which jazz guitarist played with the Miles Davis Quintet in the 1960s? Was that Wes Montgomery, Joe Pass, or John McLaughlin? And that was John McLaughlin, or McLaughlin. The blue note sound refers to, is that a type of jazz club, a specific musical note, or a record label's distinctive style? The blue note, that is a record label's distinctive style. Which jazz trumpeter was known for his Harmon mute sound? Was that Miles Davis, Chet Baker, or Wynton Marsalis? That was Miles Davis. Bossa Nova jazz originated in? Did that find its origin in Cuba, Brazil, or Argentina? Bossa Nova. That comes from Brazil. Which jazz singer was known for scatting? Was that Ella Fitzgerald, Bessie Smith, or Dinah Washington? Who's the scat singer there? Well, best known for scatting. That would be Ella Fitzgerald. Charles Mingus was primarily known for playing the saxophone, the bass, or was he known for playing the piano? Charles Mingus was primarily known for playing the bass. Which jazz album features the track So What? Kinda Blue? A Love Supreme, or was that album Time Out? And that was Kind of Blue. The modern jazz quartet featured which vibraphonist? Was that Lionel Hampton, Milt Jackson, or Gary Burton? That vibraphonist was Milt Jackson. Which jazz style emphasized complex harmonies and cool tones? Was that swing, cool jazz, or was it Dixieland? That would be cool jazz. Yardbird Suite was composed by, was that Charlie Parker? Was it Dizzy Gillespie? Or was it Bud Powell? That was Charlie Parker. Which jazz venue was known as the Jazz Corner of the World? Was that the Village Vanguard, the Blue Note, or was that Birdland? That was Birdland. In jazz terminology, trading fours refers to, is that exchanging solos in four-bar segments, playing 4/4 time, or changing keys 4 times? Trading fours refers to exchanging solos in 4-bar segments. Which jazz pianist was known for his locked hands technique? Was that Milt Buckner, Red Garland, or Errol Garner? That was Milt Buckner. Bag's Groove was named after, was it Milt Jackson, Benny Goodman, or Chet Baker? Bag's Groove was named after Milt Jackson. Which album features John Coltrane's interpretation of My Favorite Things? Was that Blue Train, Giant Steps, or My Favorite Things? Easy enough. My Favorite Things. The Rhythm Changes chord progression is based on Autumn Leaves, I Got Rhythm, or All the Things You Are. And that is I Got Rhythm. Which jazz vocalist was also known for her civil rights activism? Was that Ella Fitzgerald, Nina Simone, or Sarah Vaughan? And that would be Nina Simone. The jazz standard, Autumn Leaves, was that a French song, a Broadway tune, or a classical piece? Originally, that was a French song. Which jazz musician was known as Cannonball? Dexter Gordon, Sonny Rollins, or Julian Adderley? Cannonball was Julian Adderley. ECM Records is known for producing traditional New Orleans jazz, strictly bebop recordings, or contemporary jazz with European influences. Contemporary jazz with European influences. That would be ECM Records. Which jazz trumpet player was known for his puffy cheeks? Was that Miles Davis, Dizzy Gillespie, or Chet Baker? That was the circular breather himself, Dizzy Gillespie. Which legendary jazz musician was known as Satchmo? Was that Wes Montgomery, Jim Hall, or Django Reinhardt? That would be Wes Montgomery. And that's all I got for you. You did an amazing job. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and share your score in the comments below, please. And hey, check out these videos as well. They're a lot of fun. I gotta go practice. I'll catch you next time.